Good morning, friends, and welcome once again to the interesting discussion in the field of cancer biology. And today I'm going to discuss one of the questions in oral cancer where the chronic usage of betel quid that potentially may lead to the dehydrated. If you look at here, the oral tissue microenvironment, and that may be a factor behind the oral precancer lesions and oral cancer. In fact, there is a debatable and ambiguous observation on the role of chronic usage of betel quids towards the oral cancer development. First, let me to introduce those who are not aware. Betel quid, they are routinely referred as chewing betel nut, erica nut, and various other similar components, including the tobacco as a major component. And in fact, betel quid is very and highly routinely consumed in the Asian subcontinent, specifically India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc., in various forms, including gutka, etc. So the whole question is whether the consumption of betel quid for a very long period of time in the oral cavity, whether it leads to the dehydration or loss of water or saliva from the oral cavity, and that potentially may be one of the reasons behind the precancer lesions and oral cancer. However, I would like to clarify here that the role of betel quid, tobacco, betel nut, there are several hypotheses, propositions are there, whether the carcinogenic role of betel quid component, whether the component of betel quid like tobacco, specifically nicotine as a chemical, whether that has any pro-cancer or pro-tumor changes within the target oral squamous epithelial cells, including genetic, epigenetic, and many more. But this particular video is one of the new in the sense whether the betel quid composition is going to create dehydrated oral tissue environment. And I would like to give you some of the uh, simple observations, and that will be very important in the field of oral cancer. Fine. So the story begins here. So if you look at here, uh, this is the Eppendorf tube where 0.5 gram of powdered betel quid, that is gutka, is placed here. So this is the whole volume. But interestingly, if we place 0.5 gram of powdered betel quid with 1 ml of distilled water and let them to be soaked, complete whole 1 ml of water is soaked by this 0.5 gram of powdered betel quid. Interestingly, there is no water left in the Eppendorf tube. And if you look at here, this particular third tube is for the 0.5 gram of betel quid mixed with 1 ml of saliva from the healthy individual. Again, the whole saliva is soaked by or absorbed by this betel quid. But this particular photograph, if you look at here, even after the centrifugation of this betel quid plus water and also the saliva, even the centrifugation at 5,000 G, at high speed, it is not going to be sedimented. That means it is so strong hygroscopic in nature that complete 1 ml of water is absorbed by 0.5 gram of powdered betel quid or gutka product. Then whole question is, what is the relevance to the oral cancer? So the relevance is here, my dear friend. If you consider 0.5 gram of gutka or betel quid absorbs 1 ml of saliva, that means 1 gram will absorb around 2 ml of saliva approximately, even more than that. And then if we come around for 100 gram of consumption and chronic consumption of the betel quid or gutka, there will be loss of 200 ml of saliva. So that means if any individual is going to use the gutka for a very long period of time, and every day on an average they are going to consume, for example, 10 gram of minimum gutka or 20 gram, so the substantial volume of saliva is going to be lost during the usage of these gutka. So whole the reasonable hypothesis and observation is whether the chronic usage, long-term usage, high usage of this betel quid or the gutka, is that going to create the dehydrated oral tissue microenvironment? And that is why, so there is a whole idea to think and to propose that through this model, okay? So what is the whole model? What I'm trying to explain here, the same way, gutka plus saliva. Saliva is going to have water, enzyme, and various salts within the oral cavity. So this whole mixture, if you look at here, they are going to have substantial soaking, or you can say the absorption of the saliva for 0.5 gram, as I have explained earlier. So what is the consequences here? So the whole consequences is the dehydration or the loss of saliva, including water in the oral cavity. So what will happen? What is the impact within the oral tissue microenvironment is, so the ECM, extracellular matrix, is also going to show the display high stiffness. Look at here. Even the stiffness of the cytoplasm, cytoskeleton of those oral squamous epithelial cells in the oral cavity. Another very important is dehydration may lead to the high deposition of cholesterol in the plasma membrane of oral squamous epithelial cell. That may be one of the factors. And third, what we think, that loss of water in the extracellular fluid as well as the intracellular fluid of these oral epithelial cells, what the possibilities are, the pro-tumor enzymes or the protein or the ions, their concentrations are going to be increased more than normal. And that may also lead to, so altogether, if you look at here, whether stiffness or the changes in the cell membrane of oral epithelial cell or the high concentration of certain protein or enzyme, altogether, they may be one of the reasons behind the potential contributor towards oral epithelial fibrosis and also the potential carcinogenesis. So the whole question is, why and how the differential dehydration from one betel quid users to the other betel quid users, what will be the distinctiveness? Maybe some of the users, they are consuming 10 years or 15 years, maybe the pre-malignant lesion or oral cancer may not be observed. But some of the patients or some of the individuals, they are only consumed for 5 years and then some pre-cancerous lesion or oral cancers are detected. So why it is the case? Why there is a heterogeneity between one individual to the other? So that can be explained in a better way. What I think, the dehydration within the oral tissue microenvironment is one of the contributing factors, along with other tumorigenic event or carcinogenic event within the oral tissue environment. Along with that, also the genetic background of a particular individual. So if you all together connect the dot, genetic background, then chronic usage of betel quid, gutka, and then changes in the the oral tissue environment, the loss of water, loss of saliva, that is dehydrated environment, altogether that will contribute towards the oral cancer or the uh, detection of oral cancer. So fine. So ultimately, what is the key message? What is the question here? So the question is raised whether the usage of betel quid lead to the prominent dehydration within the oral tissue microenvironment. And if it is true, and as it appears, because the betel quid, as I demonstrated through the Eppendorf tube experiment, it appears very logical and sound that very small amount of betel quid or the gutka, they are highly hygroscopic in nature, and that will lead to the dehydration. Great. Another is that whether the dehydration within the oral tissue microenvironment is going to lead to the oral cancer. This is just preliminary, proposition. However, future experiments will be required to link whether dehydration is going to support the platform where the initiation of oral cancer is possible. But yes, indirect evidences are there even within the lung tissue microenvironment. The chance of lung tissue fibrosis are observed if and only the dehydration is going to happen. So there are records that the dehydration in other tissue environment like lung, intestine, etc. The dehydration will lead to the development of fibrosis or some kind of precancerous lesion. So likewise in the oral uh, cavity or oral tissue environment, a contribution of dehydration due to the usage of betel quid, gutka, etc. is highly and potentially warranted. I would like to thank Professor Sachin Sarode sir for very interesting discussion on the why and how the usage of gutka may be linked to the dehydration and also potentially for the oral precancer lesion and oral cancer development. Thank you very much.